Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do another entry here, once again based on one of your newer suggestions. This one having to do with a pretty interesting case. In fact, I was almost going to include it on the urban legends side, but then I thought to myself, it does have some traits when it comes to the cryptid side, and so either way, though, it was almost like 50-50, but it was suggested here under the cryptids suggestion, so I thought to myself, why not? I'll just share it here, but once you hear all this information, you'll see why I almost included it on the urban legend side. There are truly some fantastical items that are here, more along the lines of tall tales almost, but still, it's up to your opinion to decide afterwards. But it has to do with this. You're looking at a unique representation of it now. It goes by various names. The most common name is the Pigman of Northfield, and then another name is Sam Harris, and you'll know exactly why it has a more personalized name here in a minute. But let's go ahead and let's talk about all the interesting information associated with this cryptid, i.e. almost urban legend. So what is this Pigman of Northfield? Well, it's a strange, bizarre, almost otherworldly creature that is found there in an area called Northfield, Vermont. And in fact, sightings of it have been going on since the mid-1900s, about 1951 to be specific, and they've been sporadic throughout the years afterward. More on that here in a minute when it comes to the sightings themselves, but somewhere along the way it started during that time period, and it actually ties into the timeline, at least, to the origin of Sam Harris, if you believe that he in turn became the Pigman of Northfield. First, though, let's describe the physical characteristics associated with this creature. Imagine if there was a humanized pig. In other words, if you took your average pig and then mishmashed it with a human, it would be a human-sized male. It would have a walking stance. It would have arms. It would have legs, just like a male would, but it would have white hair covering its entire body. I don't know if this is like hair that is very shaggy like a Bigfoot or more trimmed and so on, but the most distinct feature associated with it is whatever this thing is clearly has the face of a pig. Now, it's been two avenues when it comes to this face. Either A, it is its natural face. In other words, it's truly the face of a pig. Just like if you took a pig and placed that pig's head on a man's body, that's essentially what you're looking at. Very grotesque, though, when it comes to that, no? Or the other thing is it's a hollowed out face of a pig and a man happens to be wearing. In other words, is wearing the skin or the hollowed out face, including the skull of an actual pig. That ties into more along the urban legend of Sam Harris, and you'll know why again here in a minute. But yes, think of those characteristics, just a humanized pig. Some other people describe it somewhere along the lines of a Bigfoot size as well, so larger in other words than your average man, and that's essentially what this Pigman of Northfield is. And again, because it's distinctly found in the hills of Northfield, Vermont, that's why it's called the Pigman of Northfield. If you want to go even more specific as to where you find this creature, there's apparently a location called the Devil's Wash Bowl. And if you go to that area, there's a cave there. That's where people have gone and inspected it. They've gone inside. They've actually found animal bones, and then also, interestingly enough, pig-like cloven footprints all around that location, again denoting the fact that this could be the home base associated with this Pigman. Somebody there that's more local, if you know exactly where that location is, please post it in the comments, because you know me, I love specific locations. It'd be a great avenue for those of you that want to go investigate this kind of stuff. Again, always being careful, then that's your chance. You'll be able to try to find an actual cryptid by the name of the Pigman. They are known at the location called Devil's Wash Bowl. But if you do go, I do recommend you to be really, really careful, because this is a very, very scary creature. This is something that is absolutely just a carnivore. In fact, here's why people state that they know they're around this Pigman, because apparently it enjoys hunting pigs. Not only does it wear the face of a pig or has the face of a pig, but it also enjoys hunting for pigs. In fact, it eats pigs pretty much raw, like it slaughters scares them when it finds them, eats their entrails, pretty much takes out everything associated with the pig, and then depending on the avenue, wears the pig's head or eats it altogether. And it's been doing this for some time now, again, for the past, almost 70 years during that location. So anytime that pigs are known to be missing, whether they're from farms or whether they're like wild pigs that people know there should be there, but all of a sudden they're gone, that's why this thing is a dangerous thing, because it actually enjoys eating meat, and it's been known to chase people as well. In fact, let's talk about those personal experiences here. There was one that occurred in 1971. There was a school dance that was happening there in Vermont in some anonymous small town. And as some teenagers were grouped outside having drinks, they were there on a sand pit. I imagine since it was at night, they had a small little fire there as well. All of a sudden, another group rushed up towards them, another group of teenagers. And when that happened, they described why. They stated that something jumped out of the woods, some creature that again was a man-like pig covered in hair, and then white hair in other words, and it was almost chasing them, like it almost jumped out of the woods themselves and then started to run at them. You could imagine something like straight out of a horror movie, especially when it comes to it involving teenagers. And so many others traveled back to that location to see if they could actually find the creature themselves. They did not. Whatever this thing was, this pigman disappeared back into the woods, but they did see all the trampling signs. In other words, there was something big that clearly ran through that area, and of course they also saw the cloven hooves that were there as well. So that's at least one experience. Another one happened to do with yet another set of high school kids. This thing also came out of the woods. They were there behind a school having drinks, and they also described it as being covered in white hair, having, in this case, a hollowed out pig's head. Instead of it being an actual pig's head on its body, it was a hollowed out one. And then that's when they completely ran out. And then another farmer later on admitted also seeing a figure matching that as well as he was taking out the garbage one night in his area. So again, anything involving these stories, they just seem to be very, very sporadic. And they denote that this thing has absolutely been following people around or accidentally encounters people as well. And there was another one where it was a group that actually went to the Devil's Cave, to that location that I was mentioning earlier. And at the Devil's Washbowl Cave, these group of men were close by, and then that's when this pigman started to attack them. In this story, the pigman actually carried off one of the men, I guess never to be seen again. But again, take that more of a grain of salt, because there is no more concrete information as to who that name was, who that person was that disappeared, or his girlfriend that apparently saw it all as well. And again, no links to who that person was either. But it was just something that if anyone has more info on it on there, post those comments. But again, you can take it with a grain of salt. There was even a canine unit that was brought out to try to find this man. All they found were his tattered clothes, but no sign ever of his entire existence, like in terms of his body. He just outright disappeared. So again, take that all with a small grain of salt. And in fact, the origin that I'm about to describe here, which ties into Sam Harris, again, take that with a big grain of salt, because here's apparently one origin for the Pigman of Northfield. And again, it ties into when he was first being sighted back in 1951. On October 30th, right before Halloween of all days, in 1951, there was a young man by the name of Sam who was out there in his farm gathering eggs, and he was doing so just nonchalantly. But what happened was the next morning, when he wasn't found, obviously in the house, and his parents awoke and then found him missing, they in turn did a huge search for him, and this involved many locals, and they went through miles and miles of searches. They never ever found him. But very shortly after he disappeared, that's when this pigman started to come across that location there in Northfield, Virginia, or Vermont, I'm sorry. And when that happened, people started adding 2 plus 2, and I'm guessing they thought Sam Harris disappeared. All of a sudden, this pigman comes out and then starts terrorizing the locations. They thought to themselves, because of the I guess the superstition surrounding the devil's wash bowl, the fact that it could be tied to a devil, in fact, that goes around that area, they thought that in turn Sam must have been caught up in that type of dark activity somehow, some way. Like, in other words, he became an accidental victim of that negativity, of that darkness that was there, and he in turn may have either been possessed by the devil or changed into the Pigman himself. I know, that's why I was going to try to include this almost on the urban legend side, because this is very, very unique, very fantastical, but that's at least the urban legend that's tied to Sam Harris and linking him to being the Pigman of Northfield. And what ties it even more is the fact that he in turn is Sam Harris, because when he kills the pigs, he just hollows out their head and wears it. He doesn't have a pig face. In other words, it's just the pig's head that he ends up wearing as well. And then there's other things too, that apparently he killed a pig in front of his mother, and it was so severe he did it as the pig man, that it ended up killing her out of just pure shock. There's another one where apparently he spawns other half man, half pigs out there as well due to bestiality. It's again pretty far out there, but those are at least the origin tied to the Pigman of Northfield. But if anybody has any more info, anything else I might have missed, then please post those comments below. What do you guys think about this one? Is it truly a cryptid? Is it a tall tale? Is it an urban legend? Let me know. Maybe some of you that are there in Northfield have a more local experience. As always, it'd be great to hear what your experiences are on there. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.